My boyfriend, M24, and I, F24, are supposed to move in together in 2 months, and now he's getting cold feet because his parents told him he can move home for free. What do I do? My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We both currently live separately and have been planning on moving in together when both of our leases end in May. He's never voiced any doubts whenever we have talked about this. We've gone and looked at a lot of places and finally decided on one we like. We had agreed that if all works out with this place after going through the application process, that we will sign a 1-year lease there. He went back home to visit his parents this week and they told him just to move home and live for free. His parents also have never liked me despite me doing everything in my power to be polite every time I see them, be respectful, kind to them even when they're not kind to me, etc. I asked if that's what he wanted and he keeps telling me he doesn't know now. I am confused on if he's always had doubts or if they are putting doubts in his head because they do not like me. We have to make a decision about this soon because our leases are ending and he just keeps saying he doesn't know. I'm hurt that he was fully set on us taking this step together and now is potentially backing out because his parents are getting in his head. I will now have to scramble to find another housing option if he doesn't want to do this because I cannot afford an apartment by myself. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend of 3 years and I were planning on moving in together. He's suddenly having doubts which I think are caused by his parents who do not want him to live with me. What do I do? That seems like a decision very centered on himself. If the leases are ending soon, you can't settle for an I don't know answer. This is something that has to be discussed until you have an answer. Continuing to say I don't know up until the time the lease runs out would result in him defaulting to his parents while you're left to scramble for housing. Strange to me that at 24, he's seriously considering moving in with his parents over his romantic partner of 3 years, assuming there is no pressing financial situation at play. One way or the other, you have to get him to come to a conclusion so that you aren't left scrambling. It's been 3 years and you are having to beg him to move in with you as opposed to back home with his parents. He's showing his commitment to this relationship. Let him move back home and move on. You guys broke up last year and he slept with someone else. You were also long distance and had to convince him to spend time with you. You might want to examine why you're constantly chasing for this guy to give you a few crumbs of affection. This is seriously an unhealthy attachment and you could have an anxious attachment style. Beyond that, you need to ditch this guy and be more independent. Stay in your current place and let him move home. At least he's given up a heads up 2 months in advance instead of waiting until the last minute, after she had already given up her current place. If you are dating to get married, I would take this as him not being the one you marry. In 3 years, Hare had enough time to decide he wants to stay on a forward trajectory. Moving in with his parents is the opposite. Have a real talk about timelines and be prepared to walk if he's not on the same page. He's allowed to have debt and finances as a priority, but he's not entitled to you just waiting around and offering him some perks of the relationship while he takes his time. How to bring up sensitively. Stop eating all the food. I, boyfriend, 24, and I, 23F, have been living with each other just under a year. I cook every day because it's my hobby, plus it's a lot cheaper and we're both unemployed. I'm getting frustrated because my BF eats any and all food that's left laying around. For instance, if we buy a packet of biscuits, most likely by the end of the day they're gone and I won't have even had any. Most frustrating is I spend a lot of time cooking, make sure to make double portions or 1.5 at least so there is left over for the next day to fit our budget, but wake up to find it all gone. This has become increasingly noticeable in the past month or two. I brought it up, please don't eat it all because I spend a lot of time making it. But I hate bringing it up because I don't want him to go hungry or shame him for eating. So when he continues 50% of the time I can't bring myself to mention it. However, the food is a lot. He'll complain about gaining weight and feeling sick from eating too much, but as soon as I sleep he'll eat all the leftovers, drink all the milk, eat all the snacks. It's costing us a fortune. I probably spend up to £100 a week just on food, plus it's so annoying planning meals etc. Only for those plans to go out the window by the next day. I'm so tired of shopping and not having milk for my morning coffee when we just bought it! Exclamation mark. How do I bring this up sensitively? I'd hate thinking I'm making him feel bad for eating, since I have a lot of issues surrounding that myself. Quarantine has been hard for us both and I guess he's an emotional eater. TL, doctor, my boyfriend is eating everything, it's expensive and frustrating, but I don't want to be controlling. How can I sensitively bring this up with him? Are you only noticing it now, or is it getting worse? You're describing binging-like behavior in secret. He waits until you fall asleep, then eats everything in sight. Yes, I would say worse, although I don't really like to monitor. I think so too. I recognize my own old binging habits in him, and although I don't want to project, it is this understanding that makes it hard for me to bring up. I don't think you need to walk on eggshells around this. Your boyfriend may have a binge eating disorder, but outside of that he's very inconsiderate. If it's the former, then he may need help or an alternative stress release. In the meantime, these ideas came to mind. Labeling food, for example, lunch for tomorrow, freezing more leftovers. Even though it's your hobby, perhaps spend less time preparing your meals and maybe spend time perfecting more basic and cheaper recipes. Not long term, but just so you don't feel so much resentment at the start. Separating snacks. He has his weekly or monthly snacks and you have yours in a different place. Once his are done, they are done and aren't replaced till the next shopping trip for those snacks. Do you have an actual budget? Plan or discuss this with him. Being unemployed is stressful for him and you, but because he's not paying for food, he may not even realize how much he's eating and it's costing. I think weekly budgets and sticking to it is really important. If he eats out his snacks or whatever, then he has to wait. This is really useful. Thank you so much. I think something as simple as labeling can be really useful, and I hadn't thought of it before. Thanks again. I mean, are you certain he doesn't have an ED? While sure, some folks just eat a lot and it could have a lot of different causes, what made me concerned was that you said he's eating till he's in pain. That's not normal or healthy behavior. Him also doing it while you're asleep is also something common in folks with binging disorders. It may not be a full-blown ED, probably just disordered eating brought on by stress/depression/ etc. Maybe connected to being unemployed. I couldn't tell you, but it's still concerning not only for his health but the household finances as well. Binging is expensive. I'd sit him down and ask him why he feels the need to eat as much as he does. Could be the meals are missing something, or he has an issue where if he craves something he tries to eat until the itch is scratched and the meals just aren't scratching it, so he ends up eating and eating. Maybe try to incorporate more cheap proteins, chicken being the main one. Vegetarian proteins can get pricey, but I guess beans and tofu aren't too bad, and carbs, rice, potatoes. Maybe make a curry which tend to utilize both and is really filling, to make him feel full faster and for longer. Having him drink more water could help make him feel full during meals too. But how well this will work if he's eating past just feeling full to the point where he's feeling sick. Who's paying for all the food he eats? I pay most of it, since he pays rent from savings of previous jobs. COVID hit hard. My husband has a friend like this. It really angers my husband when he visits for a longer time. I really don't mind if someone eats and helps themselves, but this guy will eat anything, and I mean anything edible. So one time I brought back a batch of specially made cookies by my other friend. I told him to leave me one, by the way. Sure as hell ate all of them except the one that he left for me and presented to me when I got back from work. So now I explicitly tell him if I don't want something eaten, like these cookies are for a dessert, this steak is for dinner, leave a block of chocolate for me, and it works. Be specific, what item, how much and why. My mom 46F keeps trying to make me 22F take my brother 24 meters with me when I move. I hate my older brother, I hate him a lot. I won't even pretend I don't, and my mom is very well aware of this fact. fact. I want to preface this story by saying, my brother is a jerk and hasn't changed in 24 years, and I don't expect to see any changes in the 24 if he lives that long. My brother steals, lies, throws and breaks things, yells, screams, physically abuses, mooches, etc. So we don't live with our mother, we live with our grandparents, and my grandma loves me living there but understands that now the time has come for me to fly the nest. I'm moving out of state with my partner and we have a 1-bedroom apartment. My mom has called me 3 to 4 times and keeps telling me I need to look out for my brother, he needs to come with me, I can't leave him at my grandma's house. If my grandma wanted him out, she'd evict him. She's done it before. I just refuse to take him with me. I don't want all that drama in an unfamiliar state. I don't want to sever contact with my mom unless I have to. But I refuse to take a mooch with me. Any advice? Too long didn't read. My mom is trying to pawn off my abusive brother on me and I'm refusing to take him with me. Any advice? Tell her that as his mother, it's her job to take care of her kids. Not your job to look after a sibling. No is a complete sentence. She knows how you feel about him, and just reiterate once again that he will not be living with you no matter what, and that you will not discuss the matter with her ever again. My mom is trying to pawn off my abusive brother on me and I'm refusing to take him with me. Any advice? Just keep doing what you're doing. You're over 18 and an adult. Your brother is over 18 and an adult. Your mother can't make you take him with you. Also, you have only 1 bedroom, so there's no room for him anyway. Finally, your partner has a say in who lives in his new apartment, since he'll most likely be a signatory on the lease. However, do not throw your partner under the bus in this situation. Do not blame this on your partner. Tell her he can't come, it's my apartment and my decision. And that's the end of the discussion. Next time you call me and talk about this subject again, I will hang up the phone, period. Don't make threats you don't keep. So next time she calls and tells you you need to look out for your brother, hang up the phone. Act confused. Brother is 24 years old. He's not an invalid or a child. I'm sure he could find his own place to live if he wanted to. The only thing that drives me crazy if she's that worried about him, she has an open bedroom in her house. Why isn't your brother's mother taking him? He is her problem, not yours. After all, she created him, right?